Hey guys, so this is part 2 of the Prometheus review. Once again, if you've not seen the movie and you don't want it to be spoiled for you, don't watch this. The link to the website where Jason and I do our movie reviews, it's going to be at the bottom below the video. So let's continue where we left off. We got away from the snake creature. So after all this happens, there's stuff going on the ship. First of all, David goes to talk to the male scientist, and he is kind of talking to him. And the funny thing about it is that, first of all, David is an android. He is technically incapable of having emotion. Anyone who's familiar with Star Trek, you know, Data, he's an android, and he has an emotional chip. Well, we don't know about the whole schematics of how David works. But this male scientist brings up, that, David can't feel emotion, and David's not too happy about that. So what happens is, they're talking about it, and they kind of talk a little bit about the creation of a new being. And David asks him about, how would you feel if your creator told you pretty much the things that you're saying to me? Man created David, and to have a man tell David that he's pretty much worthless and that he's this, that, and the other, and almost that he has no real true purpose. They're on this journey to meet the creator of man. What if the creator of man was to say this to humans? How would they feel? And the scientist replies, well, I don't know, but I'm human and you're an android and you can't feel, basically. So David's like, well, okay then, man. So he infects his drink with the black goo. He doesn't know anything about this goo. He's just whatever, but I think that he's kind of got it in the works. He is an android. He has a supercomputer brain, so I think that he kind of knows what's going on. He's experimenting, if you will. So there are a lot of questions in the movie that aren't exactly answered, but you kind of have to trust that the characters kind of know, that they kind of understand. But even then, David doesn't have all the answers, which we find out later. While this is happening, the female scientist, she's testing out the head that they brought back. Turns out that this thing they were looking at was not an exoskeleton. It was a helmet. It was armor. They find the real head, and it looks an awful lot like us, just it's bigger, and it's the skin's a bit different. Almost looks like the same texture of the snake that they have no idea exists as of yet. So they put it in this containment thing, and they're thinking, okay, well, what if we can bring it to life enough to to study it a little better. So they're trying, and then the head actually comes to life, but then they realize this isn't going to work. This is going to be bad. We need to stop. But they get the genetic makeup from him. And so what they end up doing is then they put him in a containment thing to try and slow it down. The head explodes, basically. And, that really sucks. But hey, who cares, right? They got the DNA sample. And guess what? It matches human DNA perfectly to a T. So yay, they did it. They found our creators. So she's all happy. She's gonna go find this other scientist who she's totally in love with, and David is totally jealous of. Guess what? Hey, guess what, honey? Their DNA matches ours. Oh, okay. Well, anyone with half a brain can procreate. Okay, now she's just totally ticked off by that, but they have sex anyway. So anyway, they do that, and then he pretty much dies the next day because he is infected with the goo, and he doesn't want, because he's been infected, and he looks in the mirror, and he sees this, like, wormish thing kind of come out of his eye, and he's kind of realizing, he's sick, and he doesn't know, he doesn't want to infect everyone, and he realizes he wants her dream to be realized. So he willingly gives up his life, hoping that her dream could be realized. And, and it really was a sad point in the movie, because I think that he kind of realized that maybe he was wrong, and that, I think he may have realized David was right. What if you found out your creators wanted to destroy you because you weren't good enough? And it really was a sad point of the movie, you know, because she is just torn up. And then she just gets, like, the biggest kick in the gut that you could possibly get. David's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you're pregnant. Okay, they've been asleep for the last 2 years and just woke up like a week ago. She can't really be pregnant as of yet. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're about, I believe it was like 6 or 7 months pregnant. She's like, but we didn't have sex. Oh, wait a minute, we did last night. Oh, am I 6 months pregnant? I don't know how this is happening. Oh, don't worry, we're going to leave it in you, even though it's growing at an extremely fast rate and it's probably going to kill you. Oh, no, I can't do that. So she runs off, gets into this med pod that the captain of the ship has. First of all, this captain of the ship is a woman. This med pod is specifically designed for men. That makes no sense. But anyway, she gets in it. She changes the schematics of it so that it'll work. She pretty much says, oh yeah, there's growth in the abdomen. You need to cut it open. So she's awake in this thing, and she's like shooting herself with some kind of painkiller. And this thing's cutting her open, and it's pulling this squid thing out. Well, first it was the goo turned worms into snakes. Now it's turning a human sperm egg fetus into a squid. Yes. Okay, so anyway, she takes the thing out, and this thing kind of like stitches her up real quick. She gets the heck out of there. She's done. She runs off, and that comic book girl 19 pretty much said the same thing. She's running all over the place, which is extremely unrealistic, and I completely agree with her. But other than that, she pretty much tells David, you know, like, that's it. And she's got a cross, and he takes this cross from her before this happens because it might be infected. Well, the cross was given to her by her father, and her father was a priest, I believe, and a priest or a doctor. And one of the memories that he watched of her when she was asleep was when she was a little girl, and they were in a village, and someone had died or was very sick, and she asks her dad, you know, why aren't you helping them? And he says they don't believe in the same practice as we do when it comes to these things. You know, they don't want our religious culture to be inflicted upon them. And she says, well, what about mom? So you find out that her mom is actually dead and that her dad was sick. And I believe that's what it was. That the mom was really sick and then died, and then the father died at a young age or something. But either way, both of her parents are dead, and she has a strong belief in faith and in a higher power in God, but at the same time, she is a scientist. This is one of the many things about this movie where science and religion come together to say, maybe there's a greater creator out there who made science and all this other weird stuff. I'm not getting into that because I don't want to see trollish comments. If you want to troll, don't do it here. I'm just going to delete you. So anyway, that's just one thing in this movie. It happens. It's in the movie. Don't screw with me, okay? This is really in the movie. In fact, at some point, you know, and then they meet these creators. Whaler's alive. Holy crap, this guy who's like ancient turns out to be alive and had been on the ship the entire time. Let's go in there. This place is a ship. It's not a structure. Oh my god, one of them's actually alive. Oh boy, all this great stuff. Well, anyway, David's like, oh, I can communicate with them. Yeah, I can communicate with them, no problem. I'm an android, look at me. So anyway, they get on there, and Whaler has one question he wants to ask this creator. And David asks him. And then total chaos ensues, where this alien's just kicking people, he's blowing people up, he's beating the crap out of these people. David's head is ripped off, you know, like, if anything, you don't know what Whaler's question was. You don't know what David asked him. So you can say, oh yeah, David asked him exactly what Whaler wanted to know. Or David asked his own personal question instead of what Whaler wanted to know. So that's a whole other thing. We don't know. We don't understand the language. There are no subtitles. We're just whatever, you know. So, you know, all this stuff happens, and then pretty much they have to stop chemical warfare upon Earth, because they're going to Earth to dump these urns of black goo, which can, first thing we see in the movie, it can destroy. Second thing we see, it can recreate. So the big question is, which one are we going to do? Are they going to destroy Earth? or are they going to make a new race of beings? So we don't know the answer to this, obviously, and they don't get there. The ship explodes, and there's other ships, but there's only one guy still alive in a sleeping chamber. So anyway, they stop him, and the scientist still has her cross and all that, and David actually asks her, you've seen that the people who created you, you've seen that, first of all, you were engineered by someone, and it wasn't God, it was another being. How can you still wear your cross? How can you still believe that? And that right there is the biggest point about this whole religion and science thing that comes together. How can you? Plenty of people do. What's the point in arguing about it? It's out there. Let people believe what they want, quite honestly. I don't give a damn what you believe. But, you know what? It's okay to believe both. I love science. I am religious, okay? Like, I believe in a God. I believe in an afterlife. But at the same time, I believe in science. I don't think one is above the other. I think that if anything, they're quite the same thing. It's just two different languages talking about the same thing, in my opinion. So, in a way, that's kind of brought into the movie, that they can both exist. Who created the creators? Who engineered the guy who engineered them? So that's basically what her answer is like, well, someone had to create him. Where did he come from? So now she wants to get away. So now what we have to figure out is, I completely missed an entire part of this movie for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and say it right now, because at this point, I don't think you guys really care about what happens at the end of the movie. So she is being chased by this alien because he survives the crash, and he's just going after her. And so she goes into the chamber that still has the squid thing in it, which she believes is dead, but it's not. It's grown about 10 times its original size. It's huge. And she tricks it. And she gets the alien in there, and she leaves. The squid thing comes out and infects, and killing and infecting the engineer. They both die, and then at the end of the movie, she and David go to a different ship, and they're off to find those answers, the new questions that have arisen. Well, where did he come from? We know where we're from now, but where did he come from? So they're off doing that. Then you're thinking, oh, okay, the movie's over. That's interesting. I wonder what they're going to do next. Well, no, it's not over, guys. It's not over, I promise you. We go back into that ship. We see the engineer with the squid thing on him. And what comes out of his stomach? You guessed it. Alien comes out of his stomach. So now we see, yes, this is where it came from. This whole thing was a prequel. And, you know what the best part was? They didn't know if they wanted to make it a prequel or not. Well, it's a prequel now, so now the big question is, are they going to make another movie? And if they do, are they just going to go back to Alien and just redo all those? Please don't. I haven't seen them, but quite honestly, I'd rather watch the originals. I'm a little bit more interested in seeing where the engineer came from. I want to know where the black goo was engineered. I want to know why it was. I want to know exactly what happened here. And the only way to get those answers is to see where he came from. So that's my opinion. That's my my whole synopsis. That's basically what happens. In my opinion, I loved the movie. I would definitely watch it. I know it's not in theaters anymore. At least I don't believe it is. So when it comes out, go ahead and rent it. Get it on Netflix. Do whatever. No matter what you think of the movie, wouldn't you... I don't know what the movie prices are for tickets in most cities, but where I live, it's like around $17 for two people to go to a movie. Or $20, basically. It's about $9 for me to go see a movie. So, $9? Yeah, if I can watch a movie from Redbox for $1, yeah, I'll do that. Quite honestly. Or watch it on pay-per-view. $4.99 and $5.99 versus $9 or $10 for a movie. I don't think so. I'm I'd go with the $4 or $5 one. So, with the $4.99 or $5.99, sorry. It's a good movie. If you like the Ridley Scott stuff, I think you might enjoy it, but at the same time, I think you're going to get extremely frustrated. Since I've never seen the Alien movies, this is the beginning for me. So I'm going to have to go back now and watch watch the Alien movies, and then develop an opinion. Like I said, if you've never seen, or if you saw the Alien movies first, then you're going to have an extremely different opinion from me. I really liked it. You may not. I'm not trying to tell you you need to like it. That's just my opinion, that I really enjoyed it. I think you might enjoy it. Feel free to comment and let me know what you exactly thought about the film. On another review, someone said something in the comments about how people don't understand the whole artistic part of this movie. I don't know how you can't see the artistic part of this movie. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Prometheus, first of all, is mythology, and you just need to understand that story to kind of get an idea of really what's going on here. There's all kinds of stuff going on in this movie. This movie is not based about shock value. That is not why this movie was made. So please watch it and try to be intelligent. Please. Try to think a little. It is a good thinking movie. It's not one of those movies where you sit there and you're just like, yeah, you're giving me all the answers. No, think about it, because you can develop your own answers. My opinion, the black goo is a way to recreate. That one scientist, he says anyone with half a brain can create. I don't think that goo I don't think that goo even has a brain. But I do know that squid made something. And something with no brain that's basically there to procreate and eat, making the alien, I'm pretty sure he's right. It's as blunt as that. If you can create, if you can do it, I'm pretty sure you can create. It's not rocket science, quite honestly. But yeah, no, I really loved the movie. I hope you do too. I'm thinking I'm gonna do some more of these kind of reviews. I don't have a whole lot of editing power at my fingertips. So really you are just kind of looking at me this whole time, but I am going to work on that, and so I'm trying to make it a little bit more interesting for you. If you're still watching this, I feel so bad for you that you have to listen to me. I'm going to try extremely hard to make this more interesting to watch when I do other ones. So, have a great day, guys. Once again, this was Lovesick Obsession with my Prometheus movie review. Finally able to do it with some spoilers, since my other one I couldn't. Go ahead and go to the link that's right down there in the description box, and check out some of the other stuff that Jason and I have talked about. Check out our audio reviews. We do replays on things that are on DVD. We do all kinds of great stuff. So, until next time, guys, have a great day.